Like this.
So it's got a little bit of
Sway. Too much?
no, I'm just pointing
It's
it
okay.
out.
I think we go with it.
Yes.
We'll go with it.
Okay.
All right, Z Nation. It's my pleasure and honor to do another Daily Xander podcast with the myth, the man, even bigger than a myth, bigger than a legend, the Kimosabi himself, the Cannonball, number 2-4, also my one and only world's greatest father, Alan Clemens, to the Daily Xander podcast. Welcome to the Daily Xander podcast.
Hi out there, everybody in Xanderland. My name is Alan Lee Cannonball Clemens, and I am here to announce that I, Cannonball Clemens, am a truly remarkable person. Thank you. My one and only son, favorite son.
I can absolutely vouch for that. I think that's something. So between me and you, it's been about 2.5 years since we've seen each other in person.
Correct.
So this marks like the third day in a row that we've been in each other's presence.
Right, and this is getting pretty old too.
Is it?
When are you leaving?
We definitely up the antes by doing something like this, where we're just filming us being together, because it's already getting so old when we hang out together. In fact, I might need to distance myself right now. But I'm really grateful. Leads me to my question, or there's kind of the conversation topic. But I'm really grateful you're totally open to doing this.
Totally open.
It's a neat time capsule that it provides, as well as if anybody can find value from this. For example, we already have somebody commenting.
Oh, great.
Yeah, real quick, because I can't read. Oh, it's Reiko. Reiko is the acupuncturist I worked with on the ship. Nice to see you, Reiko.
Hey, Reiko.
I'm
good to
watching
see
you, Alex Clemens. I'm watching you too, Reiko. And then we also have several people. We are in Quebec. They're in Quebec, Canada. But
very good.
Besides the point, I want to kind of get back to focus here.
Well, besides a point,
Okay.
let me point this out.
Okay.
There is some resemblance to
Yes.
Alex and I. I'm the better looking one.
I can second that absolutely. We certainly have had our fair share of mugshots, but that doesn't stop us from displaying our beauty.
No.
We're on the same page. So I'd like to point out, you may notice, my dad here has something hanging around. Now this goes much farther beyond than some really precious rhinestone or some type of gemstone. Would you like to share a little bit of what's hanging around your neck here?
This has been hanging around my neck for 50 years. It is a picture of me in my 50th high school reunion. Notice the resemblance. There's still hair on both of our heads, except in this picture, every hair is in place. Up here, not so. And to remind me of that moment, if you look on the backside, is a picture of the Cannonball, number 24.
That's where 24 comes into play. Also, connections galore. I am right now in the year of Cannonball, meaning I'm 24 years of age. That makes it the year of Cannonball. So now is only the year. I don't think it's
that
the
is
year.
correct.
Whenever I'm the rooster, so like Chinese origin, they'll say like this is the year of the monkey, the year of the dragon, the year of the dog, the year of the rooster. This is the year of the Cannonball.
The year of the Cannonball.
The Cannonball. It's just a little more insight about you. Growing up, whenever you told somebody you went to school at Ohio State University.
Excuse me.
That's what I'm saying.
The Ohio State University.
That's what I was going with. You already knew it. The Ohio State University, just like the Cannonball Clemens.
Correct.
So, Dad, and I kind of briefly touched on this, briefing you before we're doing this, just some questions I was going to ask, but to just get the topic started, or to put out a topic there, I just want to know what you are currently, at this given moment, grateful for right now.
At the moment, the gratefulness of this day, because it has been the most special day in my life so far. This is the oldest I've ever been, but this is the most grateful I've ever been. Alex and I have shared the day together, looking back at our memories of when he was a child and when I was a young father. So I am grateful for all the moments of this day.
can second that again. I second it several times just so far since filming, but I can definitely say that it's been a very reconnecting day, whether it's meeting some individuals I haven't seen in a long time, or again spending laughable time with you and enjoying in a tremendous haircut service with your top-notch stylist, Victor,
my stylist. But to elaborate on what we were talking about, Alex and I and my wife Jackie shared this morning looking at videos and pictures of when Alex was young, a young lad of maybe 2 and 3, and then also me as a father. And it was a good memory lane trip, just to see what we were doing then, what we looked like then, and then all those memories that we created. And Alex will at some point share with you, I'm currently writing a book. I have the front cover and the back cover and the page numbers. I'm just waiting to put the words in the book. But what it's like to be a dad watching his son grow up. It's called Looking for Xander.
Looking for Xander. You know I'm right here.
Yes, and I have found him.
And I found you too.
So by the way, if you are interested in purchasing a book, they're on sale. They're currently sold out, but if you'll send in $25, we will get you a copy as soon as they're printed.
You sure not $24?
Oh, well, yes, that's with the discount. If you know, the Cannonball. Just say the Cannonball discount.
The Cannonball discount goes a far way.
Yes. No.
Oh, okay. It's only good in Anchorage, Alaska. So you're saying
right here, right now.
Right here, right now. One time only. Okay, one time only. We'll keep it that way. Well, I'm glad you have that perspective as far as the gratefulness and really being in the present for the day.
For the day, for the moment,
and carrying on. Because I'm sure you have that mentality going forward. The next day, you're still always looking to be in the moment. When you're in the moment, that's where you're able to appreciate the little things, and the little things lead to joy, lead to just a higher quality of experience in life.
Just to kind of explain what Alex meant by that, for the last 22 years I've been getting up every morning and writing Alex or creating something for Alex. I have over 8,000 little emails and notes and things about him each day. And before I went to work, when I was teaching, I would leave little notes on the table, and then when he would get up, even though he couldn't read, it would be there when he was having breakfast. And these are moments I cherish. And I have found out over the years what a moment is. Moment, if you could spell moment in your mind, or along with me, M-O-M-E-N-T. And that spells moment. And Alex and I know all about 6 words. This has 6 letters. In moment is me. And if you take out the moment, the me in the moment, that leaves nothing. But Alex is me, and I am him, me and you. You is the moment. You are in the moment.
You are in the moment.
Yeah. So just remember that. Look for the moment.
I like that. Relates back to, again, what you share with gratefulness.
Yes.
You're expanding on it, so I see what you're saying.
There's more about it in the book, in case you want to read about it.
Like Cannonball said, the book hasn't even been done yet, but it's already a New York bestseller.
Yes,
best
it
time
is.
seller. I think it's actually worldwide now.
Oh, it's going worldwide.
Has it expanded outside the world? It's
By the
gone to
time,
universe.
by the time we
galaxy.
finish this, it'll have gone around the world once.
And it'll be less than 80 days, too.
You are correct.
Wow.
Okay.
So to get onto more of a serious level.
Yeah.
And getting deeper. So Dad, since I've been away, I've done different ventures. One of the ventures I did was volunteer work and being involved with hospice. And that's something you have great experience with. So with your hospice experience, it's not something you do anymore right now.
No, not anymore, but capable of. I may go back to it.
How long did you do hospice work for?
4 years.
And this was at
Providence Hospital.
This was in Anchorage, Providence Hospital.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Providence Hospital is the hospital I was born at.
Yes.
In 1993. Dr. Keller.
That is correct.
Dr. Keller's my pediatrician. Yeah.
And a very funny man. I think some of that rubbed off on me.
Yeah.
which rubs off to Alex, which makes the connection.
This makes the connection full circle again around the world in less than 80 days. So with your hospice experience, what were the different aspects that you did with hospice?
Well, with hospice, I initially started out in a program called No One Dies Alone, where people I visited had less than 72 hours to live. So I was given a phone call to see if I could cover a 2-hour time period at the hospital. In some cases it rolled over to 4 hours, but I would go over, stay with a stranger and be with them for a period of 2 hours. Some cases they were alert, in some cases they were just breathing.
Yeah.
And so there was always for me it was always just the presence of being in the room with that person, and what could I do to make a connection. And a lot of times I would just go from one side of the bed to the other, and I would be talking. I would hum songs. A lot of times I would do hymns, because in a lot of the cases some of the nurses would say they are give me a little background on the person. So sometimes I would read the Bible verses, but just to let them know that I was there and they were not alone. Yeah. Because the program No One Dies Alone was developed by a nurse, and they just did not want to have a person be there with no family.
No family.
Yeah.
Developed by a nurse that was, what was that originally out of? Was it like out of
Oregon?
Oh,
out of Oregon, yeah. Okay. I don't know the particulars, and you out there in Xanderland can look it up. A program called No One Dies Alone. But it really, the influence of that was when I was with my brother, who was passing away, and it's always a very personal and difficult situation to be with someone who is dying and watching them die. But in my case, in all the cases I was with, it was a peaceful moment that came by. So, and that's what influenced me to go into that program with the passing away of my brother, Jerry.
And I would say, from my experience too, being in the hospice program, that's how a lot of individuals start volunteering, or why they might volunteer is because they had a peaceful experience, or like just a positive experience with the processing of like one of their family members dying, and it lends them to, like, they see the value and the greatness in what a hospice program allows for family to experience the processing of death.
Yeah, and one of the things too that I look for, an experience I had with a gentleman, he was still conscious, but having difficulty breathing, and he was saying something, and I just kept leaning over to him and asked, are you trying to tell me something? And then he said, are you my nurse? And I said, no, I'm not. I'm just here to be with you. And he said, thank God, I don't want you to be the last person to see before I go. So he could still have humor in his life before he passed on. So I often thought about writing another book called Die Laughing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the power of humor has been documented before for the use of a lot of aspects when it comes to like negativity, but especially when somebody has like a detrimental illness or they're processing death.
And this is not to interrupt my one and only favorite son, but I have been to 13 humor conferences in Saratoga Springs, New York, and I've even been on a humor cruise to the Bahamas. So that's in another podcast that I'm sure you're waiting to watch.
That brings back memories. I remember in North Dakota, I would be with you, and we would be at a nursing home, and then you'd give a speech, because you've had several instances where you could count it as like a speaking engagement, whether you want to call it motivational or just like sharing your life experience. And one of your speeches had that topic there, where you would give 3 statements about yourself. 2 would be true, 1 would be false. One of them had to do with, I've been to the Bahamas so many times.
On a laughter cruise.
Yeah, laughter cruise.
Mm-hmm. The other one is, out of the 3, I buried the mayor of Valley City, North Dakota, upside down. True or false? And the last one was I've been in and out of prison over 500 times.
We're jumping ahead here, but yes.
Yeah. Okay, well, let's
That's
back.
okay. You can go right into it. 500 times. Well, and this is something I've shared with a lot of people before, because I like to say, like, my dad's been in and out of prison more times than I have fingers. Well, really, how could that be the case? Is your dad a warden? Has he actually been in prison?
They let me out on the weekends.
And I can see you don't have the collar around today.
Yes, I'm actually ankle monitored right now, and if you see me
That's
doing
why,
this, I'm under surveillance.
So we're coming to you live from a house right now. We're under house arrest, both of us. I've been away too long from Alaska. Apparently there was a warrant out for my arrest for being away from Alaska too long, so they just instantly put a chain around my ankle.
So
I
you
get
know
to the airport.
yeah, what they say, like father, like son.
The mugs prove it. Mug shot. Can we say? Can we say?
But you've said it all.
How long did you do the hospice for? And I know something you did when I was a lot younger, and it's something we didn't talk too much about when I was growing up.
Well, again, you out there in Xanderland, when you find an interest, it develops into more than an interest. It develops into a passion, and things keep evolving. So I started with the No One Dies Alone program, and in that I met a wonderful person who played the harp, played the flute, and played the piano. And she would take the flute and harp around the hospital, and she would play music for people that were just patients in the hospital, or they down in the cancer treatment center. And then she found out my interest in photography, so we blended those two things together on a Wednesday of each week, and she would play music on the piano, and then people would come down and listen to the music. It was right outside the cancer treatment center. So we were working with the music and making joy out of the music, and having people come by and just sit and listen. And that evolved into taking more pictures and making slideshows, and people coming to watch the slides and the music. And it kept evolving into, she would invite other people, artists that play piano and all sorts of other musical instruments, and it would be done every Wednesday in front of the Cancer Treatment Center. So people that had appointments, they'd be walking by, they had the joy of music to take in with them to their appointments, because a lot of them in the Cancer Treatment Center go in with either they have to take the treatment, or they
negative
have to
energy.
yes, they're not going in, not looking forward to it. So we provided that little moment of joy as they went into their appointment.
It'd be rewiring their attitude without even sometimes them knowing it. They just, because music has a way of just gravitating people without sometimes realizing what's going on.
Yeah, as we in the professional business would say, music is the language for all people. Thus, my passion for accordion music.
Is it now? I've never seen you play an accordion before.
Look it up, Lawrence Welk, accordion music. You'll see my picture right below there.
Oh. Cannonball is also one of the main, say, inventors of the song called Inagata de Vida.
The long version.
The long version, about 15 minutes long. One of the originators. I think you also worked hand in hand with Jerry Garcia, too, at one point or another.
I was grateful for him.
Mm-hmm. You're grateful.
Yes.
Connecting the dots. We're going around that circle again. Less than 80 days, too. Less than 80 days. What was that program called? The Wednesday program?
Munch.
It was Munch, that's right. 'Cause I took part in it, too, a couple times.
Yes, you did, and what a joy that was. I got lots of great comments like, who is that good-looking guy? And I said, well, that good-looking guy is my son, Alex. Doesn't he look just like me? Yes, he does.
But I think it always goes back to, I think you're the individual that has the looks.
Mm-hmm.
Remember?
And yes, that is true. Yeah. And they ask, is he Cannonball? I said, no, I am the Cannonball.
I'm the Cannonball. I'm Cannonball, but you're the Cannonball.
The Cannonball.
Mm.
Yes.
I think it's fitting, because I worked on a ship for 9 months. That's where cannonballs exist. They exist on ships. I'm not saying this ship had a cannonball.
Historically speaking, if you look up cannons and cannonballs, they were fired from ships out to sea.
Out to sea. Or at ships.
Yeah. Or at other ships, yeah.
Mm.
Thus the term, see the cannonball. at sea.
Thus the term "be the cannonball," and go from there.
Mm-hmm. I just want to point out to your audience out there in Xanderland that your hair is impeccable. Just, this is a fresh haircut within an hour ago, and I'm getting mine cut tomorrow. So, if you could see mine tomorrow, mine is going to look exactly like his.
Yeah, so you, Dad, are going to ask for the same haircut with Victor. Victor's the man who cut my hair. I'm very
Victor.
The Victor.
Mm-hmm.
I'm very grateful that we worked out. You were saying you have a haircut tomorrow, and I'm going to be leaving here pretty soon to travel around again. And it worked out well. I just asked, like, do you think Victor would be able to cut my hair? And it worked out great. And this is an individual I haven't seen in
since you were a little kid.
15, 16 years
mm-hmm.
or so. And I was really neat to catch up with him a little bit in a salon, stylist setting.
Which goes back to you out there in Xanderland, this moment where he got reconnected with Victor, the stylist. You should have been there to see the conversation that went on and just the smiles that were shared back and forth. And this is where Alex and I connect, with the smiles.
With the smiles, having perspective, being patient, being kind, giving value,
spreading our goodness, the joy,
being a go-giver. Yes. Also, a side note, as part of this service I had my eyebrows waxed, my ears waxed, my nose waxed too.
And just to observe that pain on his face,
did you see
I think
it,
I'm skipping that portion tomorrow.
I had a lot of tears from it.
Yes, tears of joy.
That's what I told Vic, that tears of joy, but I feel a lot better because of it.
Yeah.
On the surface, do I feel?
Just notice the difference here, the eyebrows.
Yeah.
They still could look like this, but they don't.
They don't.
And by the way, I don't have my eyebrow, but I have my nose hairs trimmed each time I go. So just so
you do with like the.
Takes the little tweezers and picks them up. No, it takes the little tweezers and pulls them out one at a time. Don't try that at home.
That's still painful, isn't it? Versus.
I'm just kidding. Just kidding.
We don't JK around here. I think it's nothing but serious.
I take
business.
it back. Well. Okay, let's go.
What would you say would be one of the most challenging situations you had when you were doing the No One Dies Alone program? Would you say there was a challenging time at all?
Yes and no. It was always late at night. Nobody around. It was just me and the patient, and I always just wondered what was going on in the minds of the patient. And there's so many different circumstances. Some were comfortable and some were uncomfortable. I was in situations where it happened to be someone passed away on my watch, and just the peacefulness on their look on their face, quit breathing, and then having to notify the nurse. Nurse comes in and just goes through the process of taking the pulse and declaring that they have passed away. And others, there were several others that did pass away, but just the agony that they had on their face, they were just all the trying to process what something on their mind that discomforted them.
Yeah.
So there was that part where what's going on without any communication. So it'd always be a situation where I was not sure what was going on. My very first experience was with a Japanese lady who was flying from New York to back home in Japan. She got sick right away, and they had to make an emergency landing in Anchorage. She was my very first one.
How old was she?
She was elderly.
Oh, okay.
So all I remember is coming in and seeing just a purse and some clothing items on a table, and that was it. And she was breathing, but breathing with a struggle. It's called the death rattle. It's a gurgling sound, and I just recall she had no one there. She was going back to see her family, and she passed away.
Oh.
And that was my first experience with the No One Dies Alone program, and I just thank the Lord that she did not die alone. She had somebody with her, and I think as a family member, I was just thinking how grateful I would be that she was not alone.
Yeah, because that could easily have been different circumstances.
Yes.
Because it could be like anybody could be traveling in another part of the world, and then something like that happens, and you just don't have that reassurance that somebody can be with them that's not part of like the medical staff that can't physically be there
Right.
several hours or however many hours until somebody does pass. So that's quite a unique situation, I would say, for like your first experience.
Oh
with,
yeah, it's just something I never anticipated happening, but it just did. And it goes back to the moment again, recognizing the moment that you're placed in, and what happens, and what do you learn from that?
What did you learn from it?
Well, for one thing, I can say now, at the time maybe not, but we are never alone, because I have been baptized at age 62, and that's Mirror Lake, yes. And what a wonderful experience that is to become a believer. And if you don't know what a believer is, start asking your question, do you believe in God? And then you find out, well, who is God? And how do I know there is a God? And those questions lead you in the direction. So back to dying alone, I know I won't die alone, wherever I'm at.
It's true. Wherever you will be at, I'll always be there, whether it's in presence or in spirit.
This guy is here, and he's never leaving, and the Lord is around us and with us, so he'll never leave. So why be afraid of anything?
It's true, because fear dictates a lot of people's experience throughout life. A lot of people go
Just
off
like
fear.
if you said right now, well, it looks like I'm afraid we're out of time.
Oh, we've just gotten to the.
That would put the fear in
We
me,
just got to the
because
middle.
we just started.
Yeah, we just got to the middle part of the bridge right now.
Yeah, okay.
I was gonna say, well, you didn't dive in too deeper. Is that you said it's here and up there. Here, there's also a tattoo, I believe, of me, isn't there? Oh, that's gonna be your 69-year-old self.
Oh yes.
Sorry, 69 your young self.
Mhm.
69 your young self would be a tattoo.
Oh yes, it's here. It's tattooed. I'm not.
What's the story on your thoughts on tattoos, by the way?
Okay.
What's your perspective on tattoos?
Yeah. We have your perfect looks, and why would you want to make something imperfect by putting something over it? I think you out there that have tattoos, good. I appreciate it. I'm not a tattoo person. I like who I am, and tattoos are not bad. They aren't. But on me, I prefer the original, the original.
The original. Yeah. I'd say that's good. You know yourself.
And just so you know, Alex will probably lead us up to this, but I do work in prison, and some of my prison buddies have tattoos, and they're all over from head to toe. So, and we are brothers. The tattoos don't influence me on. I'm not judgmental. So,
Yeah.
want a tattoo? Get a tattoo.
That means I can get a tattoo now. I'm just joking, but yeah, I would say just an example you gave about prison, and you're not judgmental. This aspect only, you don't judge people on your principles. You judge them on their principles, and so you would never really base somebody on how they look on the exterior side. It's always internal, and just always know. Unless you walked in their shoes, unless you had like their point of view and their understanding of why they're at the place they're at because of their environment, the people they interacted with, the situations and scenarios they experienced throughout life, their thoughts play a huge part in that, is why they're at the place they're at.
And speaking of walking in shoes, my shoes are size 11. I think Alex can wear my shoes.
That's interesting because I wear size like 10 or 10 and a half.
That's right. So I couldn't wear his shoes because my shoes are bigger than his.
Yeah. That's
He
interesting.
has to fill my shoes.
Yeah.
You could never fill my shoes.
That's interesting because I'm taller in height.
But everything I say is interesting. So just ask me a question.
I'm sure we're familiar with the Dos Equis. Are you familiar with the Dos Equis man? He's the
Yes,
most
the most-
interesting man in the world.
Mhm.
You would be classified as.
I'm in the top 5 of the most interesting men
I
in the
think
world.
Times is about to release the new Times 100 impactful
Mhm.
individuals on Earth. I think you are up there for consideration.
Well, it is time I be released because I've been held back for quite a few years.
Consider it your parole.
Yeah, parole. PA, pa, roll.
Let pa, and we're going to roll on.
My role here is to be the pa.
Pa.
And if you're in the humor conference, it would be the ha, pa, roll.
How many ha-has and hoo-hoos and
that was a humor lesson right there.
Definitely a lesson. I'm getting.
You're getting schooled.
In school, but this is one way you grow and learn. Is you have conversations. Whether it's a conversation like this, and there's aspects of deepness to it, as well as tickling, humorous interjections that come about, or it could be somebody in like a setting where you have like that hospice experience, and it's just you and that individual that's passing. Because there's been times I've experienced that. Because I did hospice too, vigil program, No One Dies Alone program. It was called the vigil program that I did. Just same exact thing, and just like the thoughts that come from that environment where you're with somebody and they're passing, and there's you just give consideration to the room they're at, whether it's a room they're in at a nursing home facility, where there's other individuals living there that are slowly deteriorating mentally, but they can't really recognize the situation. There's an individual they're living with that's passing away, and you just look around. It's not the most beautiful place and the most attractive place. You look up at the ceiling; it's a very low ceiling. You look around; there's not really much natural light coming in. And for me, I was thinking about, and I was telling Mom this yesterday, I was thinking about, wow, there's this person, they live how many ever years, 70, 80, 90 years, but they're at this point now, and there's nobody around them, any of their loved ones, to be with them, and say they're like a local person, so they definitely have family around, there's nobody there at all to support them or just appreciate their life in that passing period. So then I just get some thoughts of like, well, how this person lived to where throughout their entire existence, now at the end where their energy is transitioning to another element, they don't have anybody to take note of it that they had relationships with. And when I have those thoughts, it just puts a greater value on time element, value in relationships, how I communicate with people, how I interact with people. And just kind of a lot of times sometimes I'll have like visualize when I'm with somebody, like how can I touch this person to where.
Well, that's what I always try to do. Also, is how can I make the connection? It's my everyday goal is to make connections with people, and yes, not all the time. We're making a connection right now. We're just talking to each other. But what do you do when that's taken away? What do you do when the only communication you have is the sound of breathing? And so that you go to a deeper level and just feel the energy from that person and give them your energy, because I think that connection takes place also. And that's where the peacefulness comes in. You make that connection. Someone is here with me in my presence.
Yeah. It's like the breath aspect, like a spiritual sense, because spirituality means like the breath. And also like the physical sense, like I'm sure you did it where you like hold on to the person's hand.
I always, there would be this, and I would just put my hand on there, and I would just say, I would talk to them, because I was always just in my experiences of talking to nurses and things too, that they feel your presence, they hear your sound, they just can't.
Yeah,
your hand's sweaty.
It's cold. I got a cold heart.
All right, just kidding. Back on topic.
I was like when I did the training for hospice too, it was the same thing mentioned about the aspect of your voice and just saying. But I always said like it's just I'm here. It's okay. Everything's gonna be okay. I'm present with you.
One fond memory I have with a lady. She loved music, big band music, and so she had the music playing, and I would for 2 hours. The CD would keep going. I would just dance around the bed from one side to the other, and it was the big band music. So I would do a waltz and just any of the dances for the big band. And
did she have her eyes open?
No, no. But I could feel. I just got to that connection again where I had that energy from the music, and I was passing it along to her.
Yeah.
And in the room, there were pictures of her dancing with her husband and tango pictures, and I just took the energy from those and had it pass through me and gave it to her.
Yeah, because it's something. Yeah. So by seeing those pictures, you could tell a little more about her.
Right.
And then from there, you found a way to connect, transfer energy.
Right.
That's really neat, because There's times too. I'm sure you came across people you didn't really know. You don't have much background information on them.
No, virtually none.
Yeah.
Other than they might say, well, you have to cover up with a mask just because of something that they might pass along.
Yeah, might pass along. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Did you ever,
It's virtually a stranger.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It virtually is. Like easier. Yeah. For me, when I got information, it would just be like the location, and that'd be it. And when can you show up? And then you show up, and then most time it'd always be me seeing the previous or that current volunteer individual that's on the shift and just switching with them and hearing whatever they have to say about the patient and then sitting in. There's only one time where I was with the patient where I got to meet like the daughter and the husband to the daughter of the mother that was passing, and like the daughter couldn't really stay there because she couldn't handle it emotionally, like just being in the presence.
Right.
So she was there for a little bit, and then she came out and just like thanked me, and then just carried on. But it was interesting too, because in that case, like I was with this patient, and it was when I first got there, it was actually the neighbor to the lady who was passing, and when I first got there, the neighbor was like handling herself well emotionally, so she was able to share on like this individual's life, so I was actually able to learn a lot about her. And then the daughter came in, and then I just had a better sense of like who the mother was, and it helped out with just kind of knowing more about like where she's coming from and just her life.
Yeah, so what we've been talking about here just kind of, it struck me that it answers this question: can you just show up and make a difference? And the answer is, from this guy, yes. Regardless of where you're at, you can just show up and make a difference, because we make that connection.
Yeah, how you communicate.
Mm-hmm.
So for example, like one of the most powerful individuals that showed up and just made a difference through his communication, what he stood for, his values, his vision, would be like Gandhi. Like Gandhi is an individual that didn't have anything materialistic wise, and he was able to captivate hundreds of thousands of individuals with his message and his following and like what he stood for.
Well, Gandhi, it's interesting you bring up Gandhi because he visited North Dakota one time.
Did he really? Are you being serious?
I'm serious. I'm serious. And I went to see him, and I says, "Is Gandhi here?" And they said, "No, he's Gandhi with the wind."
Fun fact about North Dakota. You know you're in North Dakota when you walk outside and you come back into the house or the car and your hair's messed up, meaning it's very windy. And also another fun fact, we're not too sure if Gandhi's actually been to North Dakota.
Rumor has it. And by the way,
the name of a song.
if you know, how can you tell a person's from North Dakota? Because those that walk around like this, blocking the wind, they're from North Dakota. So if you see me do this, it's because the wind is picking up.
Yeah. Also,
a little known fact.
It's something to consider too. When you pose like this, it does signal you might have some characteristics of a vampire, which it's perfectly fine. We're in the month of October. Halloween's coming up.
We're just trying to hide your...
Or fangs.
Yeah.
Fangs. We don't want to show them off too
Which, much. Fangs for the memories, Alex.
It's been a thankful kind of day. I think every day's thankful.
Yes.
Every situation you be thankful for.
We have a lot to be thankful for.
Yeah, good play on words is to be thankful.
Yes. So, moving on.
Moving on. Well, this is kind of interrupting the flow, but I'd say we're going well with the flow. Okay. Well with the flow.
Flow. Yes.
With your hospice experience, how would you say it enhanced just like your perspective on how you interact with the world? Whether it would be like interacting with me at that time, or how you
well, it's for me. It's a very simple answer. The call, getting the call. Someday I may get the call, but it just in going in to see people in their final moments gives you that perspective of time. Time is limited, so you know what you do with your time and helping others go through that experience of life to death and what's beyond. So I'm always very conscious about the moment in time. And so when I went there, realizing that I may be the person that they're with, the last person they're with, and his life is only moments in time. To be exact, we are given approximately 25,000 days in life. And I
That
have
equates to how many years? 25,000 is like 80.
approximately
82?
72.
72.
Yeah. It's higher for different people, but based on
So if you
life insurance records and things.
So if you put that in perspective for yourself.
I have 1,400 days left. Or if you want the minutes and the hours, I can break it down too. But again, realizing that time, there's only 24 hours in a day, what do you do with that time? And it gives you an idea. Let's do something useful. Let's do something productive. As my one and only favorite son would say, let's do something of value. So that's what we look for in each day, in each moment, is creating value. And you don't know how to do that unless you look for it. If you don't look for it, you can't create it.
Look for it, or just have that vision you want to give
Right.
value, and then you eventually,
Yeah.
if you just have the intentions to give value, then the looking or the popping up of noticing, like, oh, this is where I can give value, even if it's something small or big.
Something that I shared with my one and only favorite son here from the humor conference
We're
is
all about titles. Titles
titles,
galore.
yeah. And my title is The Cannonball, number 24. But something I've always used in looking for opportunities, because a very famous comedian that I talked to talked about opportunities and what is an opportunity. And his statement was always, opportunity is now here. And it was all written out. So it either could be opportunity is now here, opportunity is nowhere, or opportunity I snow here. And from Alaska, that would be true. And so looking for opportunities is what I do. Opportunities to be of value to somebody. That means you got to get outside your comfort level and go across the room and talk to somebody, or in a store and say, are you from North Dakota? And they will go, how did you know? And boom, you've got an opportunity.
Some might find that insulting if you ask somebody a question and they look back at you like this. It might imply you might need to get your nose hairs waxed. That's all. That's all.
Well, that would be something I would ask. Do my nose hairs make me look fat? And you say, no, I don't believe they do.
Well, it's certainly an opportunity to give value. If somebody comes up to you and asks about if your nose hairs look fat, if my nose hairs look too bushy, then it gives you the opportunity that, you know what? I can either recommend you or I can perform the wax myself to get rid of.
Well, if you
those
go to
pesky
aisle
nose hairs.
7 and pick up this stuff, I can bring it back and we'll take care of you right on the spot.
We'll also guarantee no tears.
Yes.
What we will guarantee is tears of joy.
Tearfully.
So
And while I'm at it, I'm going to remove your fangs at the same time.
It's a
At
very,
no charge.
It's a very thankful thought to have. Very thankful thought to
Yeah.
have. So the aspect of time, is that something that plays in your head a lot? You said, according to that statistic, you could say you have 1,400
I'm
days
aware
left.
of it. It doesn't play in my
Yeah.
head. The thing that plays in my head the most is Inagata de Vida, the long version.
Yeah. That takes 15 minutes of your time, though.
But I can work on my dancing, or I can work on other things.
That's true. But with your aspect of time, so you don't really think of it as the days aspect, right? You, from more, it's just throughout every moment.
I'm just
of time.
aware. I'm just aware of time, and your listening audience
here,
out here.
I'll show you. Let's see how much time it's been already. It's been 43 minutes. We've actually surpassed the amount of time.
Okay.
I originally.
Well, I'll keep this short in the aspects of time, because how long is a moment? It just happened. So how do you increase your time? Well, because moments go and go and go. So what you want to do is slow the moment down. And then you find yourself in the moment, which is the me. Take out the me. Now we have a space in here, and we've slowed it down. Now inject what you want to do. Get into the moment, and that time is slowed down. You have created more time. Pretty astounding, I would say.
Absolutely, and then you're able to really fully enjoy all the
So,
virtuous
to answer your question, my
experiences.
one and only favorite son, if you want more time, slow the moments down. It's easy to do.
Yeah.
Slow down, recognize the moment, and get into the moment. Enjoy the moment.
There's a lot of ways you can do that.
And if there's no joy in the moment, put some joy in the moment. And that's why you're here. Put joy in my moment.
It's been a stimulating, joyful moment.
For 24 years, joyful years.
24 cannonball years.
24 the cannonball years.
24 the cannonball years, and 24 more the cannonball years to come.
Yes.
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 Yes. What about that positive affirmation? Yes, or positive word association. Yes, 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 yes. It has been, and we're going to continue on to a different platform, but it has been a pleasure laughing, creating, imagining, injecting humor, and then also sharing a bit about your experiences and your perspective these past 45 minutes of a moment with you, Dad.
And I want to thank the listening audience of you out there in Xanderland.
That's a new phrase, by the way. I've never said Xanderland before. I would say like Z Nation.
Oh, Xanderland. That's, I'm assuming they're on land. Well, no, maybe they're at sea. Xander Sea.
Oh, Reiko
Reiko
put a comment in, so she's on the ship right now, so
Okay.
she'd be on sea.
on sea. Whether you're on sea or whether you're on land.
I don't think she's watching anymore, but she saw this video while on sea, so she sees this video on sea.
Okay, let's clarify this. You out there in the Xander world, I just want to thank you for you sharing your time with me and listening to some of the things I have to say. But I just want to leave you with slow your moments down, get into the moment, and in that moment create something of true value that when the moment passes on to the next, you have created something very valuable in that person's life that will help them live longer and change their heart.
Yeah. I like it.
So that's my advice to the world from what I learned from my one and only favorite son, the Xander man.
Yeah. Keep your heart so you can change other people's hearts. There you go. Be a giver of value.
Always.
Pleasure.
The pleasure is irreversible.
Irreversible. We'll keep it irreversible. As always, on the Z Nation, we go in with a pleasure. But as always, peace, love, unity, respect, and last one. And passion. Signing off. Thank you so much, as always. Dad, thank you very much. Appreciate
You are
your time.
welcome, my one and only favorite son.
We're about to carry on to a quick video on Instagram TV for Nonsense Funny Game. Check it out on my Instagram page. Much love to y'all. Peace.